Season 3 of Love Transform Evolve is brought to you by Dreams Financial. Alex and Steph have been my financial advisors for years, and that's no coincidence. They don't just see me as a client, but rather as a partner in building and protecting my wealth. Their personalized approach and innovative solutions have made financial planning a breeze. And I love the fact that they are in it with me, explaining everything as we go, and I always know where my money is going and why. And when it comes to the death of a loved one, Alex and Steph are experts at providing compassionate guidance, offering clarity and direction. For more information, you can visit their website at dreamsfinancial.ca. Caregiving can be draining. You give so much of yourself, and even though you know you need to put your own oxygen mask on before assisting others, it can feel impossible. The science tells us that one of the most effective forms of stress relief is exercise, but who has time for that between taking someone to medical appointments, balancing careers, dealing with personal responsibilities, and trying to get some sleep? We are nothing if not for our bodies, though, and it's imperative that we make the time to move them in ways that keeps us thriving so we can keep showing up every day. Somebody who seems to have mastered showing up every day is Cynthia Dorner, a certified personal trainer, yoga instructor, group fitness instructor, Emmy Award winner, and someone who keeps me moving with daily workouts on her wildly popular YouTube channel, C. Dorner Fitness. Chris joins me today. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. This is so exciting, and it's great to see your face and talk to you.
Absolutely. So I want to start with your channel. Tell me a little bit about how your YouTube channel started, what kinds of exercises that you offer on the channel itself, and what makes it unique from others maybe that are out there.
Okay, so the channel really started it's been on there for a while, but it did start pretty much the day the world closed down, March 2020. It was like about the 18th, I believe. And I was like, hey, we can't go to work. So does anyone want to do a free workout or a live workout on Facebook? So that's how it started on Facebook. And then it just started to build when we realized this wasn't going to be only 2 weeks. And within a few months, I was getting like a lot of traction and people started joining kind of from all over the world, which blew my mind. And then I started going live on YouTube because I believe you need 1,000 subscribers for that by June. And then it just kind of went a little bit crazy. People were joining in live every day. I went from having 10 to over 100 in a couple of months, just joining me every day.
Wow.
Was something I wanted to do for a really long time and kept procrastinating as people were like, oh, the pandemic, if it brought one good thing, it was that we were able to make this happen. And I wouldn't have met you without this channel. So yeah. And what's unique about it is the fact that we are live every day at 9 a.m. Eastern time, every day but Sunday. That's the rest day. And what's unique is that I have a live comment feed that I can see and I can read, so people can comment and ask questions during the workouts. And what's cool is that we've built this community where when I'm waiting to go on every morning, I see everyone, hey Martha, hi Amy, hi, and they're all talking to each other. Some of them have met each other and formed friendships, so it's pretty amazing. I'm just so grateful for the community that's been built and all of the people that are working out with us. It's amazing.
It's wonderful. And, I found you about 2 months after my father passed away. And I found you in October 2022. And I came to YouTube looking for step aerobics workouts because that's kind of something that I had discovered many years ago. And I needed to move energy, right, and get out of my head. But I stayed for this community. I stayed for you and what this kind of what it represents and the sense of being there to support one another and being in the comments section, whether I'm able to make it live, which doesn't always happen, or, I'm doing it in the after party, as you so call it. It's just such a beautiful community of support. I've heard people criticize those who work out as being like overly toxically positive and stuff. Do you think that has something to do with the community that you have, this kind of, positive endorphins and outlook on life?
Well, yeah, I think that like just having, and it's funny, I was never like in team sports. I never, I never knew of that like sense of community in that way. But when I see everyone, like there's one girl that just said the other day that, she's in the hospital and she's going through this, and everybody on the chat is like, oh, you got this. And it's just something that I've never personally experienced before. And it does really make a huge difference to you. My mother passed in 2021 and my father passed just this past New Year's Eve. Those times, the one thing that I made sure I did, because my mom definitely would have wanted me to do this, was make sure I did my job and get on and motivate people because that's what I do and that makes me feel good to show up for others.
Mm.
And even though I was taking all that time out of my day to be with my mom or my dad in all of the time that they needed me, I still made sure that I was doing what I had to do because there is like power in that and it makes you feel good that you've done something for yourself.
Absolutely. So let's talk about this a little bit. Your mother, and I know a bit of your backstory. So we're sharing this kind of with all of you who are listening right now to the podcast. But your mother had cancer, multiple cancers, and you cared for her. And your father, if I'm not mistaken, had dementia. And also you had a hand in caring for him. Talk to me a little bit about what those caregiving experiences were like for you.
With my mom, it actually was quite fast. She had been dealing back and forth with cancer for, gosh, over 20 years. I personally think she probably just sort of was like, I'm done with it. I'm done with all of the treatments and all of this. And she wasn't telling us something. And then in beginning of April 2021, she just started forgetting stuff. And they said that the cancer moved to her brain and they took her in. They were like, we can't treat her. And she came home on hospice. And within a month it was so hard that last month, having her on hospice. My sister, and my dad, all three of us, taking turns being with her and doing, what we had to do, and it was so hard. And then we went right into take care of dad mode, because they were married for 52 years.
Wow.
Right? Yeah. So like all of a sudden, like you know, he's alone. Like, so my sister and I just went in to take care of dad. And, so there wasn't like a grieving of my mom because we went into that. And so like when he passed this year, all of a sudden we were both like, oh my gosh, we don't have parents. And it was like a shock to the system, but it was definitely, I took a lot to had the strength to work through it and to try and take care of yourself. Seeing your parents age and be in this position where they can't do for themselves, and it's really really hard. Yeah.
I think that's one of the wildest experiences, especially when caring for your parents, is that regardless of the age that you are, and I've talked about this with other people on the podcast, you're always going to be your parents' child, right? And you're always going to see them that way as these parents. And so when that role reversal comes, regardless of whether it's something that you anticipate and you're seeing coming slowly, which, I just want to comment, I had something like, oh, with my mom, it was really fast, but it was like 20 years. And, of, I'm sure, being there with her, watching your dad be there for her. And then it came on, like towards the end, came on really quickly. But it's like this slow burn of watching this all happen. And then this is the thing about caregiving that we don't talk about, is you're balancing the things with the emotions as well, right? And
Yeah.
it's like energetically draining, and it just takes so much from us,
Yeah, yeah. Well, and talking about my mom over the 20 years of that, one of the reasons why I came and kept doing what I did was because all of the times and all of that time, my mom was a math teacher, a high school math teacher. She, unless it was a chemo day or a radiation day, never missed a day of work. Like, she was going in and doing what she had to do. And that's why I was like, she would not want me to stop, like, to come and teach my class. Like, I would go back and bring my laptop over with her and stuff while she was on hospice. But like, she was so strong to do that. That's amazing to me,
Right.
So yeah, it's just a crazy thing. Really.
For sure. And talking about that too, I'm curious, you have been in the industry for 30 years. This has been your life, your passion. You're very clearly devoted to this. But even though this is something that you do every day, it sounds to me like it was really hard for you to show up and do, let's say, a physical exercise or to do physical activity if it had just been for you. It was really more about showing up, especially during that caregiving, that intense time, showing up for other people. Where, I mean, the resilience is to be there for other people, but talk to me a little bit about that mental kind of struggle, because I think it would be reassuring for people to know that even though this is your life, you still maybe didn't want to get up and go do the physical activity when you're in it, right?
Absolutely. Like, there were times, and I've said this, even I try to be like as transparent as possible. There were times where, like, right before I'm hitting the live button, I'm like, I don't want to. And my husband's like, you can do this. And I'm like, oh my God. Yeah. And then I'm like, hey, everybody, it's time to work out. So they're just gotta pull it together, you know, and that was definitely rough. But I look at the videos from that time and I can see myself. Like I'm a stress eater. So I see that I was like, oh my gosh, like what was I doing? Like, and I can see it on my face that I'm tired. Other people might not know this, but you know, or close friends might know. But yeah, like you just sometimes it does feel good to do the things that you have to do for yourself, you know, because if you're not strong and if you're not taking care of yourself, you really can't take care of someone else in a good way.
Oh, so true. There's an expression that says an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And I really feel that, the purpose of this season on the podcast is really to talk about how we can be well in all areas of our lives. And physical wellness is so important. You've, like I said earlier, been in this industry for about 30 years. What have you seen in terms of the trends, how they've evolved, and like where are we today? And what do you think is the most important thing for somebody to do today in terms of preparing their bodies and taking care of their bodies and not necessarily doing like 30 hours of cardio a week?
The trends have definitely changed. You know, you saw, you know, in the 80s, it was like high impact aerobics and, you know, little 1 pound dumbbells and things like that. And the trend has definitely changed toward making sure that you're doing strength training. Number one, as we get older, we lose bone density, you know, our muscles atrophy. So we are definitely not as strong as we once were. So it's important to work on that. Also, I mean, you think about as you get older, things like, you know, oh, I want to be able to sit and stand without somebody's help. I want to be able to go to the grocery store and carry my bags out without help. Now, are there circumstances in life where that won't happen anyway? Yes. But if you can do things to prevent it and keep yourself strong and moving. I have a client who's 83. She's Marsha. She's just absolutely amazing. And she's just always move. You have to move, even when your body is kind of like, and it doesn't mean go and do crazy cardio. It means like go for a walk, do something to keep your body moving. And, but the strength training component is so important because I think it was a you I was talking to about like once someone breaks a hip, that's the, you know, yeah, like
30% chance of them not getting out of anywhere.
yeah. And my dad broke his hip and his pelvis
Oh,
on a
wow.
fall, and it was about a year and a half. So that was a little longer. But my dad was also like, he was almost like me that he couldn't sit still. So even when he was in his wheelchair for the last year, they could not sometimes keep up with him. He's so funny. He would be just like going up and down the hallways back and forth. And we were like, Jack's all the way down there. And we're like, oh my God. Or he'd get on the exercise bike that's just pedals with the wheelchair and just pedal. I'm like, so even when he couldn't move, he wanted to so bad.
It's so true. It's so important. It's
Yeah.
almost like the mind as well, though, too, right? Like when you stop using it,
Yeah.
then everything kind of slows down. So it's so important to keep moving our body.
Absolutely.
So with this strength training, and I love that that's something that you emphasize. Let's say somebody's listening right now and they don't have dumbbells or the thought of like going to a gym or they're in the middle of caregiving or, you know, it's all intimidating. What guidance or recommendations would you have for somebody who wanted to kind of get into that?
So there's tons of beginner programs. There's tons of even senior programs online. I actually put out this year, I put it out in January. It's called Move to Improve. It's a 30-day program that is seriously very just basic beginner. You don't have to have dumbbells. We suggest that if you have them, try them, but it's a great way to get you started in like understanding your body and why you're doing the weight training and things like that. But there's so many free resources on YouTube. Just always make sure that your trainer has some kind of like actual education or background in it, right? Credentials. But there's so much information out there, and but the Move to Improve program is definitely helpful. We'll do like, I think it's 3 to 4 days of cardio. There's stretching involved as well, because you want to make sure, and mobility, you want to make sure that your body is able to move. You're not stuck with your joints in one position all the time. And there's cardio as well. So none of the workouts are crazy. They're all between, I think, 10 and 30 minutes. So, and there's also no stress in them. I always give the thing, like, you have to just do what's right for you. If it doesn't feel right, try something different. If I'm not the instructor for you, find somebody else, and that's totally fine. Everybody's just has to try something. If you keep looking, you'll find what you like and who you like to work out with. But yeah, you don't have to go to a gym. There's so many free resources, you know?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. And I think you just hit on something that it's one of the reasons why I keep coming back all the time to your workouts. And that is learning and understanding yourself, knowing what works for you and what doesn't work for you. And self-compassion throughout all of your workouts is this muscle that it's so important to exercise along with the physical body exercise. Why is that so important for you in your messaging?
Well, we've all go through this, and we're around the same age, me and you. But in the '90s, it was like, don't eat this, don't eat that, exercise more, well, and beat yourself up. And if you're not this, and we're like kind of conditioned to just be hard on ourselves, and there's no reason to be. A lot of people to use exercise as like punishment. Like I ate cake and pizza last night. That's not why we do it, right? Don't get me wrong. In my 20s, I was all like, oh, I got to work out. I drank last night and I ate something at 2 in the morning,
Yeah.
but I don't do right. Like I said,
Yeah, hold on. Let's take a moment to honor the 20s.
right. But, hopefully that you learn that like you're doing this because you want to be healthy, you want to grow old gracefully, and also not to put so much pressure on yourself because why? What's the point of that, right? We want to like movement should be enjoyable. Yeah. And even when you're just moving throughout your day, you shouldn't want to feel. I mean, no, you're wrong. I wake up sometimes. I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm 48.
You know.
But but if I didn't do anything, I wonder how I would feel.
And thank goodness you can still feel, right? That's the
Yeah,
other thing is having that ability to, when you go through something like caregiving or you realize how quickly things can be taken away from us, just having the
or
appreciation and the gratitude for the ability to do some things and to work through those aches and pains, right, is helpful.
yeah, and just seeing, and seeing one of the things I loved at all of the play. My dad was at like three different, first it was independent living, and then it was assisted living, and then it was the nursing. Not at the same places, unfortunately. We had to move him, but all of the places had like chair aerobics or some kind of like walking thing. And I, whether my dad was doing chair Zumba, which if you knew him, you would never. And like, I have a video of him somewhere and he's just arms in the air. And like, I was like, oh my God, I love this. And you want to still be able to do those things, right? So you see people in their decline and it's like, yes, please keep moving your body. Do whatever you can to keep moving your body. So
So important. It's so
yeah,
important. When we're in the thick of kind of caregiving, we are doing the things. And then that inner voice, that inner critic that you were telling me or that you were talking about comes in and says, oh, you should be exercising too. But just acknowledging that you are actually exercising, even though you might not be intentionally in front of a screen or lifting a weight, you're doing stuff.
totally. And the other thing I was thinking of earlier when I was thinking about talking to you was I did a little video the other day about like yoga and how it's supposed to be for stress relief. And even just a walk or a stretch or a light, easy kind of workout, just movement is better for your body, health benefits and your mind than doing nothing. And sometimes doing too much will actually make you more stressed because it's putting more stress on your body. So if say you love, and I've had this happen to me before, typically you love a hot yoga or something that's really intense, but it's not helping because you're putting more stress on your body. Or if you can't get a pose right, you're mad at yourself. And we don't need to do that. It's being okay. I, like you said, being compassionate with ourselves and realizing that like doing a little something is going to help. It doesn't have to be this crazy intense workout.
Fair. I think about going up and down the staircase at the hospital, however many times,
Yeah.
stair back and forth. Like that is just taking a moment to walk through and move the body.
Totally. Yeah.
What about the relationship? What are your thoughts on the relationship between physical movement and mindset in terms of mental resilience? In terms of, is there a relationship that you see with every time you move your body afterwards, you're able to think about the world differently, or just curious on what your thoughts are on that?
I'd say most of the time, if I'm not feeling great or not into wanting to do workout that day, most of the time I will feel better. And even I see this in comments in my videos and things like that people will write, I didn't feel like doing this today, but I feel so much better now that I did. And does it always work? No. Does a nap always make you feel better? Not always. But, I would say 95% of the time, if you've moved your body and you just feel accomplished, you know? It just makes you feel like you've done something good for you. So there's absolutely a mental aspect of it. And again, like I said, not always, but most of the time doing something will make you feel better.
Awesome. So you have this wildly successful YouTube channel. You don't just have a couple of subscribers, you have 230,000 subscribers on YouTube. Bravo. And you have upwards of, I would say, 1,000 to 2,000 workouts, right?
Yeah, there's I think a little over 2,000 workouts. I actually don't, it's terrible, but I don't even know anymore.
Oh, well, I would imagine everybody
So many.
doing daily workouts, right? Every single day. So
There's so many. I know there's 458 step classes because they're numbered.
yes, yes, absolutely. So I want to ask you, is there one class that you love teaching the most? Or is there one way that you love the most to move your body?
It's hard. I really do like, it's funny because like I love doing the dance workouts, although they're the hardest for me to put together because I have to take so much time to choreograph. And that doesn't come as easy to me as step choreography. It's so weird because step is harder to teach and harder to get, but that comes pretty easy to me. But the dance workouts to me are just so much fun. Did you do the one I did last week with my friend Jason?
No, I didn't, but I heard about it because I just did your upper body workout today from last week. So yeah, I heard it was so much fun.
I just literally feel like a kid, like making up dances in the basement with my friends.
We are each other's people. I love it.
It's so fun. No, I really do love a full body workout. I find that to just like, I feel so strong after and just, it's challenging. And that to me, it's a different feeling that I feel from a dance workout's fun. You're just like, oh yeah. And then you're in kind of this good mood all day. And then after a strength workout, it's a different feeling. It's just a feeling of like, you've accomplished something that you maybe didn't think that you could, you know? So
Absolutely.
yeah.
That's so good. Yeah, I did
Good one.
your upper body workout this morning because I was like, oh, I'm gonna wear a dress today that doesn't have any sleeves, so I want to get my guns out.
Yes,
Summer
as you should. As you should.
Yeah, no, it was really great. I was also cursing you, but in the best kind of way. So I appreciate that. So in the introduction, I actually mentioned that you are an Emmy winner, and I'm super curious to hear about this Emmy that you have, and if you had it, would love to see it. Just because I don't know anybody who's had an Emmy, and this is completely off topic, but why not?
It's weird. So I used to work for a company that was called Princeton Video Image, PVI, and they are the ones that invented that first down line that's on American football. It's this yellow line that comes up on the screen when you watch a network game. And now it's like evolved into a bunch of other things, but it used to take like 5 people to put this on the screen. It was crazy.
Wow.
But over the time it evolved, and at the US Open in 2018, they hired me to do this graphic on the court that was like, it said who was on each side. It would be like Federer on the far side, Nadal on the close side or something. So I was doing that. And I did that for a couple of years. And one year, the last year, 2018, I get a thing in the mail afterwards. It's like the graphics team for the US Open 2018 has won an Emmy for, amazing, outstanding graphics. I'm like, okay. So I just think that whoever is head of the graphics committee or whatever is going to get an Emmy for this. And 6 months later, this box comes in the mail and it says Bristol, Connecticut, where ESPN is from. And I'm like, huh. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I'm like, Kevin, my husband, I'm like, you have to see this. And he's like, what? And so I have an Emmy here. If you want to say, I'll grab it. Hold on.
Yes, please. I totally want to see this. Oh my goodness, that's awesome.
But it's like, so, I have friends that work in television and they're like, I can't believe you got this. So that's it.
That's amazing. And it has your name on it and
That's
everything.
my name on it. 2018 Sports Emmy Awards. Christina Dorner, graphics operator.
That is so cool. And is it heavy?
It says 8 pounds, but my arms are a little sore from the workout.
Right.
So you could use it.
So somebody doesn't have a weight, they could actually just pick up their Emmy. Oh my God, that's so fun.
It is pretty crazy. Like it. Yeah.
That's
So
awesome. So nothing related to fitness, but definitely in the sports realm.
yeah. Well, I should probably tell you this, that when I got there, the guy sitting next to me was the one doing the scoring. And every 2 seconds I had to be like, who's who? Because I don't know anything about tennis. So I know nothing. And he's like, yeah, that's Roger Federer.
And then you're like, and I got the Emmy.
Oh my God. I could hook up a whole TV truck, but I couldn't tell you who.
Who was who? Which is all of our skills and what we need to do, right?
But by the end of the US Open, I knew who everyone was.
Like everything, we start somewhere and we learn and we grow and we build and we get good. Well, this is pretty cool. You know why? Because again, also this season, it's so important to me for me to showcase people who are caregivers, but also to see that caregiving is like not the only thing that's in their lives, because we are all caregivers. So how cool that you're a caregiver, but also you've got all of these amazing things that you've accomplished, and you have an Emmy to your name too.
If I didn't have the parents that I had, I wouldn't have had I wouldn't be who I am, obviously. And you know, they're good parents. And so I'm very, very lucky that I had them. And I'm yeah, it's very strange to not have them anymore, but without them, I wouldn't have been able to do any of this. My mom used to come on my workouts. Did you ever do any of the old ones when
I didn't see, no.
Yeah. So in 2020, she was so cute. And so I have to tell you the story because it's not long, but it's cute. So she's come on every day, and she wouldn't do the work. Once in a while, she would pick up little light dumbbells, but she'd be like, "Oh, you're doing good, la da da," and she'd talk to people on the comments, and you know, so it was just great. So one day, and now I always had these like freelance kind of jobs, and these jobs that were just not like a real full-time job, you know, it's teaching classes and training, whatever. She'd always be like, "When are you going to get a real job?" That kind of thing. So I'm in the middle of teaching a dance class. It was up in front of the fireplace. It was early. All of a sudden "She goes, 'You're so awesome. I'm so proud of you.'" And I almost lost it. I was like, "Oh, class," I'm like, I might start crying. What did she say?
To be acknowledged, right? I mean, our parents.
So yeah, yeah, it was weird when she passed because every day she was on there. You know, she was talking to people and yeah, so
And
yeah, yeah.
I feel honestly to hear you say that, it leaves there's a sadness. I feel the hole in my heart. On Wednesday, it's going to be 9 years for my mom passing away. So it's a bittersweet feeling, right? When they can leave us with those incredible memories.
Yeah.
And to be able, you know, I find gratitude in my ability to have been able to be there for her at the end of her life, and my dad as well. So
That's beautiful. Yeah.
it sounds to me like they were very lucky to have you.
Oh, and my sister as well. We couldn't have done it without each other, you know.
So good.
We
So
really,
good that you had each other. So good that
yeah.
you had that.
She was, yeah, she's pretty amazing. She probably doesn't say it, but she's amazing.
What's your sister's name?
Her name's Tracy.
Tracy. Tracy, well done. Bravo
Yeah.
to you as well.
My oldest sister. You know, she's the one that you know, I don't want to be like she's the smart one, but she's the smart one.
Okay. Well, it's better that than another kind. So yeah.
Right.
She's the good one. She's the smart one.
She's the one that could keep it together, and I'm the one that would be like, "Oh God."
You need each other. You need each
Right.
other.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is amazing. Thank you so much for your time today, Chris. I really appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much for having me. You are just this beautiful person inside and out.
Christina Dorner is a certified personal trainer and group fitness instructor. You can find her and her live streamed and recorded fitness classes at cdornerfitness.com or YouTube C Dorner Fitness. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
If you like what you heard today, be sure to rate, follow, or subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Cynthia Iorio. Until next time.